Thank you. Come on in, don't be frightened.
Oh, okay.
Kev, how important is it that Joseph goes out this weekend and blocks, I suppose, the future out of his mind again and concentrates on Saturday?
Well, the most important thing this weekend is that we get a win. You know, when you spend 12 weeks training for a particular style and you bring another opponent in at the last minute, there's a certain amount of risk. And because of that, you know, the most important thing for us will be concentrating on winning the fight. There's a lot of world eyes on Joe at the moment. And you know, and a lot of people will be waiting to see how he reacts after this late change, where, you know, you won't find, I don't believe, any other current world champion who would have an opponent pull out and then with 2 weeks to go before the fight would replace it with another fighter. So, you know, a lot of people are looking at us and thinking, wow, I hope you guys know what you're doing. We sat down, Joe and I, and Joe said, Coach, the fight's already been called off once. We're supposed to fight April 1. He said, you know, we've had a great training camp. I'm feeling good. And I said, look, physically, I know you're right. The most important thing for me is, how's your mind? Because, you know, most guys, after preparing as hard as he did, after winning the world title, coming back to New Zealand, making his first defence, he wanted to look great. Then all of a sudden he's got no opponent. So my major issue was Joe's mental aspect. And he goes, I'm fine. He said, I need to fight, give me a fight. So hence, we're fighting this Saturday night.
There are questions, obviously, about the future. Would you prefer deep down a Wilder in the States or Valley or someone in the UK?
We know those decisions are a team decision. And obviously, they're a business decision. And if the business makes sense, the fight will make sense. And we're very, very fortunate at the moment that we have a number of exciting, lucrative options and offers available for Joseph Parker. But all that depends on, you know, a win and a good performance on Saturday night.
Have you seen all the options on the table?
Oh, you know, we know what they are. You know, and of course, you know, a tremendous performance, an exciting performance will just enhance and increase those options. You know, so we're looking to perform well on Saturday.
Kev, just casting mind back, if this fight against Hughie Fury had happened when it was perhaps originally supposed to,
April 1.
Yeah. Would you and Joe have been at Wembley to watch that fight?
Our plans were to be there with everyone else.
So you felt like you were probably missing out a little bit?
Well, no, I'm not missing out because the WBO heavyweight champion of the world is defending his title this Saturday. And that, to me, is more important than watching anyone else in the ring. I just want to see Joseph Parker in the ring. But yes, we were going to be there. Our plan was to be sitting ringside and watching that fight.
Because I think it was hard probably for a lot of fight fans, New Zealand fight fans of Joe, to see obviously two great heavyweights in the ring, but then the likes of Deontay Wilder, Tony Bellew as part of the broadcast, right, chatting each other up, basically trying to talk each other into a fight. You'd love for Joe to be there, to be part of those conversations.
We really wanted to be part of that mix, yeah. And we were desperate to be there, but there'll be other big fights that we will attend. It just comes down to the schedule. And
in terms of the business of boxing, like you were talking about before, talking to Joe before about perhaps the need to make a statement this weekend, because I mean, I suppose the shot that's going to get played over and over again is Joshua's uppercut on Klitschko. We've seen Deontay Wilder throwing out all these things on social media, his heaviest knockouts, I suppose. Right. Does Joe need something spectacular like that to throw him into the hearts and minds of the British public?
Look, let's remember, you know, Joe's got a lot of very nice knockouts on his resume. When you go out there and you try hard, you know, to be sensational, when to get a great knockout, that's when your performance suffers. You know, we're going to go out there, we're going to follow our game plan, we're going to look to break this guy down, we're going to fight a very complete fight, and we're going to come away with a win. And if during that performance there's a knockout, that'll be great. But Joe won't be going out there trying to get a knockout to satisfy the requirements of anyone else.
It looked like on Sunday you wanted Joshua to win, correct?
Most definitely, yeah, I did.
Is it because you'd rather face Joshua in the future than Klitschko?
No, it's because I had a bet with Joseph Parker.
How much for?
No, it's just bragging right bet.
Yeah.
No, of course I wanted Joshua to win. Like, you know, let's remember, the last 10 years, Klitschko had single-handedly taken all the interest away from the heavyweight division. The networks weren't playing his fights. His style was very unattractive, very boring, and in fact it's crazy that right at the end of his career he's in such an exciting, entertaining fight. So because of that, I didn't want Klitschko to once again wear one of the belts. I wanted Joshua to win because I thought it was better for heavyweight boxing and better for our team.
What can you be specific on what you saw in Joshua that you would possibly target in the future?
Well, Joshua's he's a lot like Joseph, except for he's in much bigger fights and he's got a higher profile and a much bigger market. But our time is going to come to fight in those big markets. Look, he's still improving and developing. There were he showed a lot of vulnerability. There was no doubt about that. The guy's very one-dimensional. He's a little robotic. He doesn't have a great variety of punch selection. Not a lot of head or hand movement. There's a lot of things that Joseph Parker does skill-wise much better than Anthony Joshua.
Would Joe have beaten Anthony Joshua on Sunday?
Well, I can promise you this, if Joseph Parker hit Anthony Joshua on the chin and had him on his back like he was in the 6th round of that fight would be over. There'd be no rounds 7 to 11.
Some pundits the last couple of days, when Joe's been mentioned, have questioned his power. What do you say to them?
They're talking because, we went the distance with Carlos Takam, one of the most avoided, durable fighters in the heavyweight division. We went 12 rounds with Andy Ruiz off a terrible training camp, where Joe showed great heart after being down at the end of the 8th round by 2 points by all 3 judges. He came back like the champion he is. Andy Ruiz is a very, very durable guy. Look, Joseph's got a lot of impressive one-punch knockouts. Joe's got very heavy hands and uncommon hand speed for a heavyweight. I think that, does he hit as hard as Anthony Joshua? No, I don't think he does. But when you combine Joe's power with his speed, that combination for me is as lethal as anything Joshua has.
Have there been any specific improvements you've sought in this camp, in this fight?
Well, we've spent 12 weeks training for one particular style. The style that's in front of us on Saturday night is totally different from the style that we've prepared for. But what we did really work on this camp was increased foot speed, improving Joe's balance, getting his feet under him, and these things were really coming together nicely. And when I talk about balance and increased foot speed, this is enabling Joe to hit harder and to set up his second phase of attack a lot better. So these are things that I'm excited about, and Joe's seen it developing during this camp.
Something that you'd think would get a Joshua?
It's something that I think will get most heavyweights in the world.
During the sparring sessions between Joe and Razvan, were you doing before?
No. We've never had... Look, I've used Razvan for 2 training camps. And the reason why I've used him is the guy is very, very experienced. Over 300 amateur fights. He's been in camps with a lot of top fighters. He's had a couple of camps with Alexander Povetkin, the Olympic gold medalist and world champion. He apparently dominated the sparring with Povetkin. Povetkin couldn't put gloves on him. He had signed contracts with Darrell Miller, with Dillian White, with Luis Ortiz, 3 of the most avoided guys in the heavyweight division, also 3 of the most dangerous guys that Razvan had signed contracts to fight, only for them to choose other opponents. This guy has a lot of respect. He doesn't have a name here in New Zealand. He has a very low profile in America, but this is a guy to be respected and not looked past. And this is a fight for us that I think the first 3-4 rounds of this fight are going to be very, very dangerous. And a fight that, when you're fighting a guy who's 6'7.5" and just under 20 stone, you cannot afford to be careless. You cannot afford to walk into anything, which adds to the risk that we face on Saturday night.
What have you seen? What signs have you seen from Joe to make you confident that he isn't looking to the future, that he is focused on wrestling?
Look, Joe never ever looks past the guy that's in front of him. We're well aware we've got a lot of terrific options at the moment, and Joe and I have been together as a team now for just over 4 years, and every single fight we've always had someone to look forward to. We've always had the name. You know, we've been paralleling Anthony Joshua for the last 3 years. You know, the name. And at one stage we were going to fight him when we sat there as his mandatory. Joe never ever looks ahead. He knows that one slip up and it's all over. So you know, we need to be very focused. We need to be very correct in everything that we do, and make sure that our preparation is on point for this fight on Saturday night.
We're at the start of May. In a perfect world, when would you want to fight again?
You know, like the nice thing for me and for Joe is that he hasn't fought for 5 months. And you look at the last 3 years, we've fought 5 times a year for the last 3 years. So, you know, he's actually chomping at the bit at the moment to fight. You know, I would think Joe will take a month off after this fight, and there's a lot of business, a lot of exciting business to be done in a couple of months, and I'd like to think Joe would probably fight, you know, 3 months' time.
All right, we'll leave it there, eh?
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Cool.
If you weren't my brother, I'd come over and punch it for making all that noise. Simple as that.
Friggin' exactly.
No, so he's got one. He would turn this one.
Sam, would you like your mic back?
No, leave on.
Oh.
Good, thank you.